You do like you do like crazy, oh 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 crazy, oh 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 crazy, crazy, oh oh crazy, oh 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 crazy, 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 you do like
Ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in that wonderful technicolor rainbow in between, welcome to tonight's coverage of the Titan Esports Vanquisher League. I'm Let's See Birdie, and joining me today, as per usual, GG Golden Gad, my other half this season. How you doing today, GG?
Doing great. You know, just a pretty chill Tuesday. Nothing crazy happening except for Vanquisher League, of course.
Let's go!
Week 3 this time. You know, we've gone through week 1, week 2. We made it through a couple weeks that were pretty enjoyable, I'd say. But now we got another one here with a matchup of 2 different teams here.
Yep, we have TSG, and then we have Conduit Landslide. I believe it's TSG White is the team that is going to be on blue side today. A couple of names that you might be recognizing here if you've been around the Vanquisher League scene at all. BR from last split's finals was a big name that came up. I said his name in a very funny way during one of the casts, and that memory still sticks in my head forever. So BR, I need you to know I'm going to remember you forever. And Worm Jones, one of the ones on the other side, who is, again, a name that you might have seen around if you're in the Aegis, the Titan Leagues, on any of these places around, a guy who's well known.
Yeah, and another thing to note, of course, is both of these teams are competing for a spot in playoffs, but one is at a further up position than the other, which will be, of course, TSG White sitting at top of the league 2-0 with a 4-1 game score. And then on the other side, we got Conduit Landslide 1-1, 3-2. So not too far off, but did end up taking one series loss there in the first 2 weeks there. And so, you know, this is a perfect opportunity to really close the gap here for Conduit Landslide if they want to have a really good shot to guarantee they make top 4 for that playoffs cut in week 8.
Give or take. I was looking at some of the content that was being produced for the Vanquisher League, and if you're unaware, you should go over to the Titan Esports Discord and check out that Vanquisher League content. Both of the people who were writing up, I believe it's Idris and someone else, I'm not remembering the name off the top of my head, but both of them had predicted that this was going to be a TSG 2-1 victory tonight, which I think is not an unreasonable expectation, but I do remember seeing that one of them was TSG, as long as they don't have a happy game, it should be 2-0. So we might be in for a bit of a one-sided stomp right now, but we'll have to see how it ends up in the draft. We also had Worlds starting up last night. If any of you saw the match that was T1 versus
happy
IG.
games. Speaking of happy games, there were many happy games last night. Not gonna lie,
there were a couple.
Definitely check those out if you didn't have the chance. Everyone's goat the Shy really put up a great performance. Okay.
Yeah, that
Moving
game 4
on.
performance was something else. But we're here for game 1 of TSG White and Conduit Esports Landslide. So now we're going to have to see how we get into it as we're into the draft. It's Talia, it's Mel, already taken away. Mid laners being focused down. Talia, we have seen once or twice inside that jungle goal, but I think it's been less than successful. So I would expect to see it in the mid lane at the very least. A lot of AP champions are the targets because Gwen is going to be banned away, which tells me top lane wants to brawl, wants to scrap. We might be seeing like a Jackson, Aatrox, or maybe one of these tanks like an Ornn or a Maokai, Scion, something like that.
Yeah, Jarvan getting banned out too here. I expect Wukong to probably get another ban out as well, just to kind of round out that 80 champion pool. One thing I did kind of snipe was somebody is spamming Volibear in this game, so I would not be surprised to see a jungle Volibear in this one. if we do end up getting there. But once again, they're just doubling down here on some really strong mid laners that work well with very strong dueling junglers. So, think of Mel, think of Aurora, think of
still
Celia.
Available.
And there it is, the Wukong, of course.
First picked, not too shocking. I think this is everybody's kind of expected high presence jungler currently. The Cyclone is just so good and influential in the mid and late game, and in the early game, he's safe enough that you can just play it out. And there's that jungle matchup that we're most likely going to be seeing. It could be moved to top lane, but I'm assuming, given that you sniped it out, it's probably a bit of a jungle Volibear that we might be expecting to see tonight.
Yeah, out of their last 10 games, Pinay has 8 Volibear games, so I'm just going to assume it's going there. But we do see Hui, so another strong champion here that is pretty flexible. I've always been a Hui hater. I've been proven wrong occasionally.
I'm a Hui enjoyer. I love this.
Yeah, so it balances out here in this cast. But just know, I always hate side laning with Hui, but I do think it is very strong when you have a strong core to play around and you have someone else that can kind of dedicate to the lone side lane on the weak side here. With Aatrox, that also does get a little scarier because Aatrox is one of those champions that could close gaps very effectively, and they've already created a very strong topside brawling comp with the Galio, Wukong, Aatrox here, and we see Poppy get locked in, which could be top, could be support.
I love this Poppy pick. It could be top support. It could even be jungle if they wanted to move that Volibear up to top side and just use it as a, haha, you thought we were playing a jungle, but it's actually going to be our top laner pick. But Volibear doesn't match up extremely well into Aatrox, so I doubt we'll be seeing that. Poppy, great pick here so far. Galio dash denies an engage. Wukong dash denies the engage. Aatrox, he's got his little mini dashes to try and reposition those Deathbringer stances, just get those extra sweet spots in. So not going to be able to see a ton of those as long as that Steadfast presence is up and available. But now it's the bottom lane bans coming through. We've got Tristana Nautilus and we've got Sivir Xayah, so that 80 carry pool shrunk it down even further. In terms of scaling picks, you still have things like Jinx Kog'Maw, those hyper scaling late game 80 carries. Lucian still up and available. Lucian Braum. Corki did get nerfed, but is still up and available. Ashe also not what I was expecting to see as the blind pick, but does work fairly well with Poppy. So if they did want to move that to the bottom lane, still an option for them.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see Ashe. It doesn't usually do very well into Aatrox. Galio as a kind of combo, but it is a very high pressure 80 carry in the bot lane at very least. And seeing the Jinx get locked in, I just assume a Lulu or some sort of super supportive support here.
Yeah, you'd think an Enchanter, Melio, Lulu, something like that, but no, it's going to be the Bard, actually. It still has the possibility to play that sort of defensive style, but it's not really what you see very often out of Bards. More likely you're seeing maybe a Dead Man's Plate Swiftness Boots and just playing the map kind of champion, which has me worried, because I see an early Jinx, or I see a Jinx late in the draft that already has a fairly meatball-y core. I like that. The support, I just don't know if it's fully there for the Jinx, whereas on the other side, Conduit Landslide has a great just team fighting composition here. Nami, Ashe are great pseudo-engaged champions. Poppy and Volibear, they don't have an express go button outside of that Ashe ultimate or maybe a Nami wave if it comes out of the fog, but other than that, they're going to run forward and TSG is just going to have to figure out how to deal with it.
Yeah, I think CLS actually has a very interesting bot lane here. They are going to want to fist fight the hell out of the Jinx Bard, which is going to be pretty funny, I think. Because usually when you think of Bard, you think very lane dominant kind of champion. Yeah. The only one that really competes is Nico in that kind of area. But, if you're picking Ashe Nami, trust me, you just want to win lane really hard and kind of just steamroll from there. And I think they need an advantage like that. Come mid-game, you're going to have difficulties with, Bard roaming around the map, Galio able to join at any time, Wukong able to follow up engage, especially after Bard is able to just commit the ultimate onto these two immobile carries who are going to be doing a lot of the damage here of that Hui, of that Ashe. So, I think TSG has drafted something extremely solid. You really can't complain at all about this draft. And it works pretty well against CLS's comp. I will say Aatrox and Poppy generally is favored in that matchup. I know it very well. So they have winning side lanes, and if they could snowball that effectively, they should have a very good chance going into this one. But come mid-late game, I could see it being very difficult since they don't have that very concrete go button besides the Ashe arrow.
Yeah, I do worry for TSG, just because whenever I see a Jinx that doesn't have an express, hey, I'm going to stand on top of you and keep you safe kind of champion, I always get a little worried for how she's going to be able to navigate the early game and the mid game, especially. Bard is a champion that wants to roam around the map. He wants to play for the mid lane, for the top lane, get your jungler ahead, get your top laner scaling up. So I don't know how often we're going to be seeing Jinx left alone in the bottom lane, or how often we're going to be seeing Bard playing that defensive support. Because like you said, Nami Ashe, they want to throw hands. They want to do a little fisticuffs. They want to make fights happen. And Bard doesn't really do that always the best when you've got someone like a Jinx's. A little early trading. Panay gets a little bit of damage in onto Pride, but Pride trades back. And there's just no good baiters here on this top side of the map. Everyone just wants to throw hands.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be a very long one here. Pride getting that deep ward, but might get punished for it.
Yeah, the lightning strike lands, and that's going to be a lot of damage down onto Pride. BR in the area, though, is going to force the rest of them back, and the ward did end up going down for TSG, so they do have that vision of the Raptor camp, but Pride ended up losing a lot of HP for that, which is definitely going to slow down the clear at the very least. You're going to have to be a little bit more careful when you're kiting the camps.
Yeah, and I do like how GitCat is kind of just poking and prodding, like, oh, I could go towards your jungle here if you don't stop me here, but just gonna go back up towards that top side. Nothing too crazy going on. There was a bit of a bush look by the bot lane here of CLS, but they're just gonna back off, able to catch those minions nonetheless. But Nami able to claim that bush control that is so important in these double range support matchups.
Yeah, and you expect to see that a lot with Nami. I'm a bit of a Nami connoisseur recently, and she has been one of my go-to supports when I need to play an enchanter, the bottom lane, her and Karma. And I think she is in a really good spot right now. You don't need, it's not like days have passed where if you were picking Nami, hey, it's got to be Illusion or else you're kind of doing nothing. You're just good at being able to dominate lane now with the lower mana cost on that bouncing wave, getting to be able to sustain and poke your enemies and allies respectively. Really does help out a lot in terms of what you can do in the lane. And even to a range versus range support, Nami can actually keep up with Bard in terms of damage and in terms of continuous just pressure. So I think this is a really good matchup for the CLS bottom side. And it makes me, I'll be honest, even more worried about the possibility for this Jinx kind of just getting starved out.
Jinx always just takes that one fight that kind of turns the table. So, you know, they're going to have to tread lightly here for Conduit. They should have early lane advantages in pretty much every single lane, which should give very big advantage over to Pinay to try and just do whatever he wants. But, you know, we'll have to see. You know, Volibear is not as strong as he used to be, where he's able to just kind of walk up to a lane for free. But still definitely pretty strong, especially with some of the buffs he's received as of late.
Blade here in the mid lane, getting a little bit of damage. We'll find out whether this Blade is a fat L or if it is fatal. That was the running joke for us earlier before we started the stream, the pronunciation for Mr. Blade there in the mid lane. It's either going to be fat L or it's going to be fatal, depending on how well he performs. So we'll have to keep our eyes on that as the game goes on, as BR and Foreign have actually found Panay here. Lightning Strike's going to come down, so Panay will get a big shield, and BR now potentially the one in trouble as the lethal tempo is stacked up. BR's just going to get chomped down! Panay finds first blood. The heal comes out for Worm Jones as well, keeping the jungler alive for a little bit longer, but Fatal Blade will come through, but Foreign will fall for it. Tate finds the kill, and now Fatal is going to become a fat L here as the kill should just be gifted over to Tate. One more auto down. Pride is going to find Sinful Sam in the bottom side, but that's the feat of warfare going over to CLS.
Just, I think, super disrespectful there by the side of TSG. I mean, as I was saying, you have losing lanes here, so just walking up to this Volibear kind of for free like that is just so strange to me, as they kind of just give away a little bit of an advantage over to the bot lane of CLS and the jungler, of course, who got that first blood. I mean, it's still not the worst, though, since Pride was able to pick up Sinful Sam on the bot side. You know, CLS's players. Oh, I'll hold that thought right here.
Is in a bit of trouble here. Nice wall stun there from GitCat, and that should just mean the death of Killer Quincy. Has the flash, has the dash, the hammer slam. It doesn't pop fast enough, and Killer Quincy will make it out just with his life.
Yeah, barely making it out there. Wukong also on this top side, so they got to be careful if they actually will index for a dive here. I think as soon as they see that Wukong, they're calling it off immediately. Makes a lot of sense here. But I was saying that in that play, they were allergic to flashing. Both Pinay and Sinful Sam, who both went down, did not commit the flash there. So, you know, whether or not it's worth it is up to be seen still.
Yeah, I think for both of them, it can be worth it, as Worm Jones is going to land the bubble down onto Foreign guy. Sinful Sam stacking up the lethal tempo, so you have to be careful with how long these trades go. But I do think saving the flashes, especially for someone like Volibear, can be worth it. You're already seeing down here just the pressure that Worm Jones exerts on this Nami. Get that bouncing wave off, get the double hit, the single heal to yourself. Always feels good. But for Volibear especially, Flash is such an important tool, and using it aggressively to continue to get yourself ahead, to put your lanes ahead, is such a big deal. If you're forced to use it on the defensive, whether or not you survive, it still doesn't feel great.
Yeah. As of now, Dragon's still about to be contested here potentially. Nami is actually kind of a bad spot here as BR's going
Yeah.
in, commits the
Has to
flash
lose
as
the
well.
flash there. Managing to stay alive for now, as Pride is just going to get that bonk over Sinful Sam's head. Everyone else will be forced to walk away, and the gank gets the flash out of the Nami, but BR also used their flash to make that happen, so not the best in terms of what TSG wanted to get out of this bottom side play. Sinful Sam is even going to get the fruit there in the river to get some extra health and mana, be able to stay in lane longer. It's actually a pretty big win for CLS, I'd argue.
I'm surprised that Worm Jones was able to just get out there for free. Well, not completely for free, but just trading the flash there was enough to get out. So definitely fortunate. Now Pine is just going to put the pressure down to be able to clear out this wave to allow the bot lane to walk up towards that Drake pretty freely. So they will have a timer here. Galio, though, does have the push here. So
Yeah, it also has
Fatal
level
Blade
6.
already going to be in the area.
Heroic entrance ready to be used, but Tate also on the roam. Doesn't have the same global pressure that the Galio does, but Hui can still provide a lot of utility, as we did see ultimates traded in the top side there. World Ender used as well as that Keeper's Verdict from GitCat. So no TPs, no ultimates for either of these top laners. They're not going to be coming down to help out this trade at all. But GitCat maybe in a little bit of trouble. Killer Quincy is sustaining up that Deathbringer stance auto attack, getting a huge amount of health back, but it is just going to be CLS grabbing that dragon on the bottom side. Killer Quincy wants to keep this pressure down. I remember you mentioned in the draft that normally this matchup is fairly Poppy favored, but I think early on in the game when the health costs are not super high yet and Poppy's damage isn't at that big peak yet, at level 9, level 10, GitCat can definitely be struggling here a little bit.
Yeah, I think committing the ultimate early on was definitely something that was smart for Killer Quincy to kind of turn the tides. And a lot of these initial Qs are landing, which is the kind of poke you don't want to be taking as the Poppy here.
Mm-hmm.
Kit Kat,
It's
though,
not just
able to
the
just... Oh, missed the
-1.
cannon.
It
Yeah,
is. It is also not just the poke, but also the sustain that the Aatrox is allowed to have off of plays like that. Every little bit of damage you give him is a little bit extra Omnivamp that he gets to sustain off of you. Let alone those passive autos that give him like huge chunk if he manages to land them on you and not on a minion. But now the wave is just going to be pushed in. CS will even up a little bit, but GitCat should get at the very least the most of this wave, so should retain a good chunk of a lead. But in a weird roundabout way, it is just going to be Dragon traded for these first 3 grubs. It's a play we've seen probably 1,000 times now at this point. But first Dragon goes to one side, first grubs goes to the other, and pressure just manages to remain relatively equal across the map.
yeah. One cool thing there was Killer Quincy's pressure was just able to allow Pride to steal away the red buff as well, right in front of Pine, who had no idea actually. So a little bit unfortunate there, and gonna afford a little bit of the advantage that the Volibear has back over to the Wukong, who has quite a bit of farming to do to kind of fully catch up, since you have all of your camps pretty much up now. So it's gonna be pretty interesting to see how it'll go.
Yeah, speaking of interesting, I did want to point out the interesting boots choice here from Worm Jones, the Symbiotic Souls. I think this is mostly just to make sure that you're able to keep up in terms of the roaming power that this Bard has, because unlike something like getting to your mandate as quickly as possible, or even just getting those Ionian boots, this is not going to provide you any extra like help or assistance in terms of your laning prowess or anything to do with the actual bottom lane 2v2. This is just going to make life a little bit easier when you're following the Bard around. As speaking of being in trouble, Worm Jones is going to get rooted up. This should just be one dead fish sushi for dinner as Worm Jones, this foreign guy, just gets the freest kill of his life.
Yeah, that was, call it Bard shenanigans, but I think a little bit of disrespect there. Just gets taken down immediately by the bot lane of TSG, and it's the small plays like this that kind of start the steamroll that could potentially happen here. As
Yeah, I was talking about
nice dodge aways here by GitCat.
Yeah, GitCat making this happen really well. Pops that Keeper's Verdict just for the extra damage. Killer Quincy is going to use the World Ender in response, start healing up a lot. The push and ticking as well. A nice block on that Steadfast Presence, but the Q will still land. So Killer Quincy comes out of the trade ahead in health. GitCat looking for that Buckler proc, but Killer Quincy just staying just out of range, not going to let him have it. So the health trade again remains in favor of Killer Quincy, and GitCat is forced to run away.
Yeah, the World Ender is really a kind of tide shifter for that top side in that matchup. But if you're able to kind of just cut it out and go for another burst trade, you should have the advantage eventually. But so far, it hasn't gone that way.
If we're going to see GitCat pick up either the Bramble Vest or maybe an Executioner's Calling just to try and make these trades a little bit more favorable. I mean, Wukong is not going to be healing a huge amount. Bard is going to be providing some healing, but a lot of it's out of combat. It really would just be for the Aatrox in this laning phase, so it's not going to be the most valuable. A nice bubble there from Worm Jones. Tempered Fate is going to find the Ashe, and the traps are going to root right afterwards, but Foreign Guy has no mana left. Pride is in the area looking for potential angle in, but just doesn't see it. Just going to take the Ghost out of Sinful Sam and say, hey, we'll take that trade.
Yeah, the Ghost coming in pretty clutch there. You would think generally that would be a kill onto Pride, but able to just kite it out just barely enough to be able to survive. So now they're going to establish some lane control here. They're going to push out this bot side wave. There is Dragon in 1 minute, and everyone's going to reset on this bot side. So depends on what the gold thresholds are here. As you can see, Jinx coming out a base with no item here for the second
no
Drake.
Ginpal Wild Arrows yet. That's a pretty big deal. Ashe also doesn't have her Kraken Slayer yet, though, so both ADCs just barely outside that threshold for their first item. This is the trading we're expecting to see out of Poppy into this Aatrox. You dash in, you get your Hammer Shock, you get a little bit of extra damage, and hopefully you trade back favorably, but the trades are pretty tough up there in the top side, as Killer Quincy, I think, has been playing this lane really well for himself, even into a disadvantageous matchup.
Yeah, this is looking pretty good here. TP's coming back in towards the mid lane here. Fatal Blade wants to be in the area for that heroic entrance. Foreign Guy's going to try and pick up the bot lane CS here to just be able to join. This is going to be a full all-out brawl, if I had to guess.
Yeah, and if it is, I think this is favored to TSG because they have the teleport on Killer Quincy. If they want to fight for it, Aatrox just needs to find a window to recall. I don't know if he's even going to, though, as TLS are now going to start pulling the dragon out of the pit, try and get it away, but Pride and BR are in the area, keeping vision on it. Tate looking to get an angle, but no chance for a flank, so it's just going to be forced to walk back. Fatal Blade looking for an angle. Pride actually finds the one in onto Sinful Sam, immediately forces the flash out of the Ashe, but has that dash in. The fear of the Suns, all the CC. Pride is not able to get the second Cyclone off, and Tate now on a killing spree. Super Mega Death Rocket used, but not to much avail. Worm Jones now helping chase down as Panay wants to find Fatal Blade. Bubble's not going to land as the hero charge comes through, but Panay now has to be the one to flash away. Tempered Fate is not going to find anything. The wave finds one not onto Sinful Sam, onto the Galio. Foreign Guy able to walk away with the sliver of HP. His Fatal Blade finds the kill onto one. He's going to be able to flash out. One more auto should kill him, but no one can get it off. Fatal Blade walks out of there with a sliver of HP. And somehow, someway, TSG scrape a win out of that fight.
I think if just a couple more skill shots land here for Conduit, they would have it. And there you go. One of those skill shots. Tate, out of nowhere, takes it out.
Downtown.
Yeah, that was definitely a rough fight here. Just way too far committed here for Pride. Just trying to find the engage onto Sinful Sam. And Fatal Blade maybe clicking heroic entrance a little bit too early. Just gets zoned out completely. And that's your jungler down right before the drag. You know, it did end up not going down anyways. So we may have another round 2 here coming up soon. But in the meantime, Volibear just going to farm it up here. Have to see if Wukong actually is going to fully commit for it. I will say also GitCat doing a great job of just always keeping your eye on the Aatrox, not allowing the TP to actually come through.
Yeah. Killer Quincy does have that TP, but importantly, while that fight was happening bottom side, had to lose that flash up there in the top lane scuffle as Killer Quincy now and GitCat, you're not level 11 yet, but still have those hammer shocks to do plenty of damage to the Aatrox. Sidesteps that sweet spot as well, and yeah, now that the Poppy's got the extra bit of movement speed and can keep that Aatrox back, life's going to get more difficult. But with the Sundered Sky, as soon as Killer Quincy gets one auto with the passive or without, it's just going to be half his health coming back, so it doesn't matter too much.
Yeah. I would like to see the Bramble at least come through, just for a little bit of heal cut, just so you can guarantee the side lane advantage forever. But now you are going to see Volibear here just commit to the Drake immediately. They do have a timer here to be able to fight. It really comes down to, can BR find a good engage?
Yeah, heroic entrance is still a couple seconds away. The engage is just onto BR. Tempered Fate comes in, but it's just too little, too late. Unstoppable now as Tate, as Worm Jones is looking for the engage onto Foreign Guy, but the rest of the team already turning on to Fatal Blade instead. This fight comes through. Pinay will find that one. Pride now looking for a dash in, gets the Cyclone in, but who's there to follow up with him? Who's there to support the Wukong? Heroic entrance in, but it's just onto one. Sinful Sam, though, caught out. The rest of the team scattered to the wind as Pride flies Sinful Sam. Foreign Guy getting chased down as Pinay gets the lightning strike, and Tate follows the thunder with the Severic Bolt and locks down the Jinx. Pride now getting chased down as Pinay does not want to let him leave. One more scratch should do it, but he can't get the damage in. It's onto the clone. Pride will walk away with a sliver of HP. It did not come in before the fall. A CLS come up clutch.
Yeah, they grab up the Drake as well, so they're in a really advantageous position here. 2k gold up as well, so they're finding everything they want to find here in this early game. And that fight could have been even more dominant for them if someone was just there to help out Sinful Sam on that other side.
Yeah, the movement there, I think just a little bit scattered from CLS. If Sinful Sam manages to move either with the team or the team sticks with him, the fight ends up being a lot better than it already was for CLS, and they came out of that with a pretty big advantage. Their mid laner now 6-0, 6 out of 7 KP for himself, feeling great with that Seraph's now fully stacked, and should be a menace for the rest of this game as way. Once he gets ahead, it's really difficult to get on top of him and shut him down.
Yeah, the extra lane advantage is really just coming up clutch over time. Of course, once again, TSG White have the team fight comp to eventually turn the tide, but that really depends. Somehow, some way, GitCat actually finds a trade kill in a 2v1.
We're watching the bottom lane.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting, but probably just knocking the Bard back under turret when he wasn't expecting it, so BR just takes an untimely death. Able to TP back on the top side here to just grab up the minions here, so not going to lose too much on the top side despite that bit of strong side here for Aatrox.
Brimblevest finally picked up for GitCat, so as these trades continue in the top side, it should be better and better for the Poppy, and life is only going to get harder and harder for the Aatrox unless you start matching up against someone else. But you look at who else you could potentially match up with. Do you want to match up with the 6-0 Aatrox? Do you want to try and lane versus Ashe Nami as an Aatrox? Like, to a certain extent, yeah, but also, if you get caught once out of position and these slows continue to land, it's either fight or die at that point. You're basically in a Renata hostile take, or a Renata bailout.
Yeah, for the most part here. There is the Rift Herald up, and you can see people in the area to want it.
Pinay, nice use of the tunnel there from BR, manages to escape just in time.
A lot of engage here now.
BR flashes away from that Enchanted Crystal arrow, but Sinful Sam just wants to keep the fight going. The damage that this Ashe is pumping out on these autos.
That's the Imperial Mandate damage, you know? I'm getting flashbacks to when Nami was actually OP with the Imperial Mandate combo here, but still definitely putting up some good pressure here.
Nami.
Oh, God. I'm getting actual flashback. I mean, Aerie is still strong.
Aerie is still very good, but it's still electrocuted as Pinay looking for Pride, trying to make him go with before the fall is Cyclone is going to be forced out. So big cooldown out of the Wukong as the Rift Herald should be up now. And it looks like Pinay just wants to turn immediately onto that. And I think that's the right call is Sinful Sam and the rest, and Worm Jones just want to make the trades happen. Sinful Sam flashing forward just does not want to let BR escape. Worm Jones, though, maybe paying the price, has to flash away from it, but Pride still on the chase. Foreign guy with a super mega death rocket downtown picks it up. Pinay now on the run as the taunt is channeling. Still going to get caught by it. Fatal Blade looking in, but Pride is caught by the spiraling despair, and CLS immediately turn on him and start mashing phase. Fatal Blade is turned into a fat L. This is a triple kill for Pinay.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly the only issue with Wukong. With no Cyclone, your fight pressure is just that much lower, and with Tate able to just rotate over quickly enough to be able to exert a lot of trade damage as Pinay gets engaged on, it's a perfect fight here for Conduit, and they're going to extend their advantage and grab up this Rift Herald to push the game even further.
Yeah, side lane now, GitCat and Killer Quincy trading. There is some counterplay to the Bramble Vest. There was a reason why I was mentioning Executioner's Calling as an option, as it's more proactive in terms of that Grievous Wounds application. You don't get the armor, but being able to apply it guaranteed every time. By spending 800 gold, you can kind of deactivate the Sundered Sky if Aatrox is playing around the anti-heal, but it becomes a little bit of a mental game there, and the Sundered Sky heal is just so big. Sometimes it doesn't really matter how much anti-heal you have. He's still going to get back like 500 health from an auto.
Yeah. I mean, I like both sides, and Poppy also does like building some AD sometimes as well.
Yeah,
so
there's some Eclipse builds on Poppy that are still popular, and Pinay really wants to chase BR out of his own jungle, just forces the Bard back with that magical journey. Fatal Blade up on the top side here is just making the wave push happen, but in the meantime, Dragon and Otacon are up on the bottom side of the map, and Fatal Blade doesn't have ultimate or teleport, so are these just both being given up as GitCat forced on the run here, charging up that Keeper's Verdict, but a nice cancel by Killer Quincy. Now Poppy is fairly tanky. I don't actually think they have the damage to kill her, so she's just going to be fine and just say, yeah, I'm okay, I'm fine. As Soul Point goes over to CLS, they'll lose top lane turret and the red buff, but they're also set up for Otacon as soon as they want to turn for it.
And they also have the Rift Herald in case they over-index too hard on the top side there. As you can see, Wukong and Galio on that side. Now they're pinging out towards the Otacon. They want it, but they don't have any, way to clear the vision currently, as far as I could tell. So
Yeah.
it's a little bit of a
Plus
rough
channeled on
position.
that top side. BR is going to be forced on the run as GitCat here gets the charge into the wall. That's just one dead Bard redemption to use, but it's too little too late. Killer Quincy in the meantime forced to run away as Panay now pops to that Stormbreaker. Killer Quincy, though, trading back, gets that huge Sundered Sky heal, as you saw. It's a chunk of his health back, but losing the World Ender, a big deal for the Aatrox. Doesn't have Flash either, so he's going to be forced to TP back in. But with a lot less resources, and this Otacon is starting to go down.
Yeah, they're able to now clear out the vision, so there should be no easy way for this to get stolen. Pride now in the area looking for it. 4K.
Verdict finds the Wukong. Goodbye goes the monkey, and hello goes the Otacon over to CLS, and now Fortguy, the one in trouble. Fire Despair has already landed. You can cleanse, but the slow still comes. That despair that you're feeling will not go away. His Tate goes legendary. Fat L Blade goes down as well. Over to Sinful Sam, and CLS are running away with game one.
Yeah, and they have the Rift Herald here to push even further. I think they might get an inhib here if they aren't careful. There is the Cyclone. Okay, nice cancel on the charge there. Still shouldn't matter too much. Doesn't have a second one for the inhib turret. Looks like they're going to go for it.
Second ultimate. Imagine Bard gets the Wukong treatment, he gets a second ultimate. They're actually going to drift it over to mid lane turret instead. But Panay fails his driving class, does not manage to get the charge into the turret. Panay, we trusted you, we had faith in you, and you let us down. We're hurt.
Yeah, back to driver school you go. Honestly, just instant license revoked. Yeah. Unfortunately, could have had an insane amount of pressure there, but not able to actually translate that. Conduit, I mean, they're looking great right now. 8-0-3 on the Hui, 2-2-8 on the Ashe. Everyone having bounties. Yeah.
What is that? 3 items. We are 22 minutes into the game. And yeah, the items are not the most expensive, as Bloodletters and Seraph specifically are not like the biggest price point items. It's not a death capping your inventory, but these are still highly effective items for the Hui. And with the Leanders as well, this is a monster strong Hui.
Yeah, Hui, I mean, I don't think there's much stronger a Hui can be, really. I'm a little surprised to see the Bloodletter's Curse of all items, but
I do like it when you're into these tankier comps. Like the Aatrox is going to be taking a lot of damage over time, and so is the Galio. Speaking of the Galio, I think he's just going to be the target of the side lane pressure again. Poor Fat L Blade channels the taunt, but Pride will not be able to help him this time around. He's not a Saiyan. He's not going to be able to make that work. Sinful Sam now on a killing spree. And with the mid laner gone, Baron's up in 2 minutes, actually. I was about to say they could turn to Baron, but it's not Season 10. It's 25-minute Baron, not 20-minute Baron.
Yeah. So pretty chill here. We got word that Bloodletter's Curse is it, so it must be goated.
It. We can quote a producer on that.
True. So it must be goated, is what I'm thinking. So, we'll have to see if it pays off. I don't think the item choice really matters though at this point.
Yeah, your play is already hyperfed. BR now going to look for some pressure on to get Cat. They trade stuns, and Poppy's going to be forced to flash over the wall.
Reverse
BR, I think BR is just happy to take that trade. Say, hey, I got the flash out of the top later. I'm doing my part.
Yeah, and Poppy's flash is always something that's a little bit more valuable just because you can get those better
Jones
angles
on the flank angle here. Gets the stun on the foreign guy, but the rest of the team is being engaged on. His Pride gets an angle in for Fatal Blade, but just not enough of one as Tate is the target. But this build on Hui just makes you so tanky. Even the Super Mega Death Rocket not able to take him down. And into the backline goes Panay, who locks down the turret, disables it, and gets a double kill for himself on the back half of it. CLS continue to press their advantage.
Yeah, that was actually really well played from both Tate and Worm Jones. Worm Jones able to stall out foreign guy with the bubble on the backside, and then Tate hits a nice unending despair also onto foreign guy just to apply the 80% slow it puts on as well. So
it builds up to, yeah.
Yeah, so definitely just impossible to be able to join the Wukong, and that's kind of been a repeating trend throughout this game, is the Wukong's going in deep, and no one else besides maybe Fatal Blade is able to actually join up with him, and it's just been causing problems.
Yeah, unfortunately, Wukong Galio is not Jarvan Galio. You can't guarantee burn to flashes. The knockup does not last as long as the Cataclysm itself does, so a little bit more difficult to actually time that up. I wonder if maybe this is a combo that they tried once or twice in practice or in scrims, but just have not been able to pull it off here today. But this game one is continuing to look more and more CLS, just like they have it in their hands. They're going to be up 10,000 gold now, not even mentioning the immeasurable stats that Ocean Soul is now going to give them, as this team is going to be even harder to shut down, as Foreign Guy is going to get tagged by that Severing Bolt. Bad Blade and the rest of the team are running away, but I think the Jinx is just gone. Panay steals the kill away for the rest of the squad, but at this point, I'm not sure it matters all that much. Bad Blade gets the heroic charge out there. Is going to be able to get a little bit of extra distance, so we'll be able to walk out there, but you're walking out with not much life.
Yeah, this is working out as well as expected here for Conduit if they were able to cleanly snowball, and cleanly snowball they have. 7-19 currently the kill score, now able to just translate that advantage over to the Baron. Man, this is a rough game for the Jinx, but honestly, not really. I don't think it's Foreign Guy's fault. You know, like,
yeah,
this is just a bad
gonna say,
scenario to be in.
I am usually a big detractor of Jinx picks early in draft, as it's going to be locked down onto the backline there, but where's the follow-up damage? Can they get on top of these carries as Fatal Blade gets the taunt in? They're going to be able to find Tate. Shutdown goes over to Killer Quincy. Rampage goes Sinful Sam, so he's going to be able to get some extra distance as the Ashe continues to kite out, but the healing for the Aatrox is huge. It's not huge enough. Ocean Soul outlasts everything. Stun lands onto VR from afar, but they don't have any extra CC to get there, so Pride and Foreign Guy and VR will all scatter to the wind, but CLS, they lost their Fed mid laner and did not pick up the Baron.
I mean, BR made that as close of a fight as possible. Wow, whoa, barely getting out there for Pride.
Barely.
Yeah, barely. Very barely. BR made it as close as possible. They found Tate in the middle of that fight, but I mean, if you're not winning that fight that dominantly, you've got a lot more questions to answer. So
yeah, they have a lot of ground to cover. They were already down 10,000 gold, and now it's 11,000 as the Baron is going to be started up by CLS. The fact that they got the shutdown at all, I think, is a huge win for them. And now they're going to look to contest this Baron again. Still missing that Temper Fate for a little bit of time. Pride has the Cyclone, and Fatal Blade has the heroic entrance, so they're actually just going to be forced to walk away. Everyone manages to keep CLS off of the Baron. I think CLS is playing a little bit passively there. I think they can force the issue.
I think once they see the TP, which Aatrox is the one who was the beneficiary of the 1K shutdown, I could see showing a little respect here.
Engage. A little bit of an anti-synergy, but they're going to get the two-man taunt off regardless. Can they finally pick up the kills? Wormjo goes down. Tate will follow. TSG are not out of it yet. VR's going to portal in and get on top of Sinful Sam. Manages to land the stud. And there goes the 80 carry. 1,000 gold to the Jinx. And TSG are going to immediately turn to the Baron.
I've seen these ones before. Baron gonna go the way of CLS. There's nothing that CLS could do about this one. They're already indexed on the other side. So TSG, they put themselves in a winning position somehow, and it's really off the back of this Bard.
Surely CLS, after a 10,000 gold lead in Ocean Soul, surely the game is, even after they lose this Baron, surely it's near unlosable for them, right?
Yeah, some people are going to need to hold their tongue if CLS ends up losing this one. But, you know, there's still a lot of game to be played. Still 5K gold up for Conduit. But the Baron, in general, is just such a big advantage that they get to leverage here. But it's really come down to the fact that these carries are mobile. It's so easy to engage for a Bard and a Wukong to actually get on these. And, you know, the 2 times they were able to actually link up with the rest of their team, it's worked out.
Yeah, and there was even that little bit of anti-synergy after the first Cyclone landed. I thought, Pride got caught in it. They're not going to be able to follow up any further because there's going to be flashes or something else expended to get them out of there. But they just had the extra follow. This is the great thing about Wukong. Hey, you didn't manage to perfectly land your first ultimate. It's fine. You have 2 of them. It doesn't matter. As BR, something does matter here for you, though, and it's an arrow to the face as Tate is just going to find that kill. Smiley Despair does not manage to land, so Fatal Blade will manage to continue to walk away. Justice Punch in. Has to burn that Zhonya's, and now Pride doesn't have the follow of your Bard at that time, and Sinful Sam is able to kite it out. Foreign Guy falls. So does Fat L. And CLS, they looked like they were in trouble for mere moments, but immediately capitalized on the mistakes of TSG.
They said, I've had enough of this Bard. We're killing him immediately. We don't want to deal with any more of the shenanigans that have been occurring, and that's going to pay off in dues here, as now they're just able to push down the mid lane here. They have a full wave. I don't think Aatrox can do much here, not known as a wave clear champion, and they'll close it out with a very scary end.
Yeah, Killer Quincy has the World Ender, is going to try and valiantly defend the base, but the CC just a little bit too much. VR now trying to hold strong, manages to keep Simple Sam down for an extra 2.5 seconds, but I don't think that's going to do enough. CLS, they had a shaky moment there, but from start to end, it was CLS's game to win, and they took advantage, and they'll take game number 1.
Yeah, that was a pretty clean game until it wasn't, and then it was clean again. So, I'd say pretty good performance there out of Conduit Landslide. They should be able to just kind of ride their coattails off of picking 3 winning lanes with kind of a non-cohesive draft, and just making it work. And that's the kind of stuff that's when I know a team is actually worth their marbles. They definitely picked to their win cons there, and they played to them well.
Yeah, and already kind of bucking the trend of what people expected in predictions. I was seeing 2 1s, 2 0s for TSG coming into today, and immediately Conduit Landslide says, hey, we're not a bad team. We know how to play the game. Put some respect on our names, and I do think they need to be respected now. The way that Sinful Sam and Worm Jones played that bottom lane out and really punished the very greedy draft picks of this Jinx and Bard, trying to get some sort of a dual advantage of, we have the scaling advantage of Jinx, but also roaming power from Bards. We're able to take advantages on the map and have our scaling AD carry be safe. They just punched him straight in the mouth and said, hey, if you're going to pick these picks that are weak, we're going to finish you off.
Much as I hate Jhin, I think Jhin would have been a great pick there to at least nullify some of the advantage that the Nami Ashe would have generated. But, how are you going to know Nami's going to get picked in R5, really?
Yeah.
So definitely something a little bit more difficult there. Yes, their damage would have been lower, but the Aatrox was very strong actually towards that late game portion. It's just about setting up those fights.
Yeah, unfortunately, not TSG White's first game to win, but they still have a chance to come back. We're going to hop into a short break here, and when we come back, we'll get into the draft for game number 2, and we'll see if TSG's got a little fight left in them, or if CLS are just going to buck all expectations and take a 2-0. We'll see you after the break.
I don't make deals, I've been going hard in the paint, still blowing cushion clouds till I can't feel like. Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like. 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like. 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right?
Welcome back, everybody. The draft is currently being handled as we speak, but before we jump into the draft, we have a little thing that we like to do here on the Titan Esports Vanquisher League. Every week, our producer decides to not torture, but have their fun with us by presenting us with a hypothetical question of KMK, Kiss, Marry, and Kill. And this week we had a little bit of a Halloween theme going on between Bewitching Elise, Deathsworn Katarina, and Ravenborn LeBlanc. And unlike last week, opinions are rather split this time around.
Yeah, I mean, we're in unity, at least on the Elise number here. I don't know, spiders,
Look,
spider women.
I love spiders. Spiders are super useful and helpful to our environment. They deal with bugs that I don't want to deal with. I'm totally fine with them in real life. Video game spider lady who's going to kill me, I'm less okay with.
Yeah, definitely kill. Like 100%. I mean, LeBlanc will probably also mess with your mental, but she can also turn into anyone and anything, which is kind of interesting. You know, spice of life type stuff.
LeBlanc also, you know, runs an empire as her day job, and you know what? If I'm not currently a victim of that and I'm married to her, I'm probably having a good life.
Yeah, and it was brought up that Katarina is rich, which is true.
Yeah, Dukuto family, they got a little money to them, but they're not the top, which is LeBlanc. She's literally everywhere.
That is true, but I am scared of what LeBlanc will do to me long term.
Look, if I get to be married to LeBlanc, she can do whatever she wants to me.
Fair.
And you can quote me on that.
Okay, quoting.
I do think the picks this week were not too split. Our producers seeming to have a difference in opinion of LeBlanc versus Elise, but all of us said, no, Katarina good. We like Katarina.
Yeah, Katarina cool.
Yeah, for anyone in chat who's unaware, the Deathsworn skin line is actually part of what Riot classifies as their Halloween / holiday themed skin lines, even though it's a very different vibe from the Bewitching skin line. Or even the Ravenborn, which I think is also technically Halloween, even though it's a once-off.
They got money to be made in Halloween for sure. So,
yeah,
no matter what they're feeling.
We were talking earlier in the day about some of the Bewitching skins, and our producer Golden professed her absolute hatred for Bewitching Syndra, which I was surprised to hear at the very least.
Bewitching Syndra. I have to see this. Sorry, I haven't seen it.
To quote them, pumpkins as the balls is uncreative and
oh, right, this one. Right. I mean, what else would it be? Just energy? Bat balls? I'm trying to think. Besides,
maybe little bats in little cages, maybe spiders. They have little legs. Yeah. You might have to do a legendary skin for that, but you know.
Yeah, maybe.
Our producer has a lot of strong opinions. If you haven't seen them already over on Titan After Dark, talking about a lot of the skins, I got to be on a segment for a little bit when the Spirit Blossom Spring skins came out, which was a very fun time, and got to hear them talk about Teemo's butt for too long. We should be ready to hop into draft now, so then we're talking about Teemo butts, hopefully for the rest of my casting career, but given my luck, I don't think that'll be the case. Sides are remaining the same. You can see on the bottom of your screen there all those fearless picks and bans. You know the system at this point. We're seeing it in the World Championship. We know how fearless draft works. Immediately TSG are going to be taking away that Gwen, so at the very least the order changing up now as the draft starts.
Now taken off the table again, so once again, these AP strong carries that allow for Talia as well. It's kind of just allowing for some strong 3v3s on the top side. Just getting taken away a little bit here, especially, you know, AD junglers that come to mind. Jarvan, now banned again, so will not be...
as well.
Yeah, will not be seeing the table here. Viego is a potential now that I've seen, you know, Jarvan get banned and some of the other AD pool get pinched a little bit.
Also still
Still,
available. He's
yeah.
a little weaker, but he is still fairly good. The Gwen ban still says to me that TSG wants to pick something like Jax as the Aurora is going to get taken away. So I'm expecting to see another bruiser in the top lane. We saw the Aatrox there in game number 1 that Killer Quincy looked good on for the most part, even in the tougher laning phase, having a pretty decent time. But it's going to be the Corki, one of those AD champions we were talking about in the draft for game number 1, is going to be the first pick here instead. So maybe they're saving that top lane pick for something later down the line.
Yeah, seeing Corki, it's just a safe blind. You could technically flex it to mid as well in case you see an easy matchup, but it's just going to be the Sivir, which is, you know, historically in the last year, basically the good counter into Corki, since you do get to spell shield the Phosphorus Bomb, which is like most of Corki's early damage especially, and there's the Xin Zhao to pair it up with. So we're seeing some pretty standard stuff as far as Conduit is concerned here. They haven't really picked anything too crazy. Xin Zhao, always that staple AD jungler you can rely on that has a little bit more dueling in the early game. Alistar, classic counter pick to the Sivir. We're going down the line. All right, what counters Xin Zhao? You know, you got to think about it for a second.
Alistar's just really good into the spell shield in particular because you can knock it off with your headbutt if you just delay your headbutt pulverize. That's that little bit. The Jax that I mentioned earlier as a possible pick for Killer Quincy, it is flexible, so Pride could put that in the jungle, but I expect it to go top lane, especially with the Gwen ban. It kind of just says, hey, we're going to put Jax up there at the top side. You can't counterpick it with the Gwen. And now they have a chance to ban out other counterpicks, so they get Cat has a Gragas in the back pocket. You probably want to take that one out. I like the Karma being paired up with the Sivir. I think this is a really strong bottom lane 2v2. Maybe a little weak into the Alistar just as a support v support vacuum matchup, as when you get engaged on his Karma, you're either putting the shield on yourself and leaving your AD carry vulnerable, or shielding your ADC as they get dove on, and then you start dying. Yeah,
and I do think Jax has a pretty good potential here getting flexed, just because Xin Zhao actually does pretty poorly into Jax at all stages of the game. So if we're thinking about it logically, you could actually flex it depending on what this matchup ends up being. And you could see their Conduit has an idea that maybe it is a Jax jungle, because the Mbessa jungle, or the Mbessa top is getting banned out here. So we'll have to see how it actually ends up falling here. This should be a mid lane pick here. The Syndra going to get locked in. So after some adjustments.
Solid blind. Ari and Orianna already gone. The Talia, Aurora, Mel. So many of these mid laners are already taken away. Victor is still up and available if you just want the safe scaling pick into it, and that is what they're going to opt for. So Fatal Blade has a chance to become Fatal once again, and you know, he's survived to the late game. You can be a little bit more impactful than that Galio was in game number 1. Unfortunately, we never got to see that big wombo combo that they liked to have. And that Jax is going to be flexed, as it's going to be the Ornn as the blind pick for the top lane here. So CLS has a chance to pick something potentially spicy, something that counters tanks. They have options. It just depends on what Gitcat has in the tank, and what they got in the tank is the Set, which is a historically great matchup versus the Ornn.
Yeah, and also Set does pretty well into Jax too. So like, you know, kind of just whatever, you know. It's not like Ornn's going to get flexed here, but at least in the team fights as well, Jax is going to have a little bit more difficult of a time trying to navigate around the Set E especially. So I think we're in a similar scenario to last game, where it looks like Conduit is more indexed towards that early game win lane strategy. And if you can transition that into just winning the game, that's kind of what they're going for. Whereas, once again, TSG a little bit more reactive in their draft. That's just kind of how they are, it seems. Picking a lot of things that do well. Yeah, they do have great scaling. That is a little bit different since they aren't on that Galio, Wukong top side. So they definitely have a little bit more potential, but it is still just losing lanes for the most part on the sides. And then also in mid, I'd favor Syndra, especially around that level 6 mark. So
yeah, pre-level 6 and up to level 6, I think is Syndra favored. The worry that I have is we've seen Set versus Ornn in the top side already. And the last time we saw that, the Set got ganked and he ended up picking up 2 kills. Or at the very least, a kill and forcing the enemy jungler to flash. It was a bad spot for the other side. I'm trying to remember whether or not they won that game. I think they did actually end up winning that one, so the Set ended up mattering. I just don't want to see an early gank against a Set when he's got that haymaker ready to go. I think as long as CLS manages to not play into that, or if TSG manages to avoid doing that, they should be totally fine. They should be A-okay.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see. I think, you know, I said TSG had an easier time in the last game, but then Conduit came out to just really good early lane advantages and a little bit of disrespectful play. by the bot lane, especially from TSG. So I think if it's going to go down this very similar route as it's kind of looking like it will, I'm just going to favor Conduit as it is. But obviously, it's always just that one snap team fight that could change everything. And fortunately for Conduit in the last game, that one snap team fight they ended up losing was not, they already had such a large advantage at that point that it didn't matter as much. But given a closer game, that could have been a disaster. So definitely something to think about for this one.
Yeah. I look at CLS's comp and I want to love it. I want this comp to win because I love a team that just wants to go forward. Xin Zhao plus an Enchanter, Set plus an Enchanter, Sivir to get them both sped up and into the backline faster, Syndra and Sivir for consistent backline damage. It feels like the right comp to go with. But I look at the scaling on TSG. Corki, when he gets that 2.5 item, 3 item power spike, that mana being fully stacked. Victor, once he gets the tier stacked, gets that 3 item spike. Ornn in the late game, Jax in the late game. These feel like champions that you really can't bet against. So I think I have to go with TSG if I'm picking these comps on paper, not taking the last game into account. I think I just have to say I like the TSG draft better. I think if they don't lose the early game super hard, they should have an advantage. And we're going to see if they lose the early game as we jump onto the Rift here for game number 2.
Yeah.
Wait, that's not Bewitching Syndra. That's
That's
Withered
the
Rose.
Withered Rose. We got
Our
trolled
producer
by our
lied to us.
producer.
I'm hurt.
True, me too. I'm very hurt. I might. Sorry, we're getting flamed right now. We're getting flamed
currently
so
being
hard right
flamed
now.
For Discord not picking up the audio. That's apparently our fault. I'll take the L on that. Looking at the runes and the summoner spells across the board, I don't see anything that's too surprising. I think comment on Syndra is maybe a little bit. I know a lot of Syndras like to go either First Strike or sometimes even Dark Harvest, Electrocute. They have options there. Victor with the Aerie is pretty much his go-to nowadays since he doesn't get that slow until very late in the game. He doesn't end up building Rhyholize, so you can't guarantee the Comet procs. Conqueror on the set versus Grasp on the Ornn is also pretty normal, as GitCat is potentially in trouble, but does not want to take the trade too heavily. Does have that Haymaker at level 1, so no chance for any sort of knuckle down face breaker level 2 shenanigan kills. But
half HP Ornn.
Yeah, half HP Ornn this early into the game is a great start for the set, especially with this natural regen.
Yeah, that's pretty rough there. I think that you could potentially just look for an early gank onto Ornn, especially since they did, I believe they saw that the ward went deep onto the Raptors. They could just decide, okay, 2 camp, I'm going top kind of thing. But with how Set's pushing, it's not going to probably work out that way. Should just be a full clear here for both these junglers as per usual. On the bot side here, already the lane is dominant for the side of Sam and Worm Jones. Makes a lot of sense here. Alistar, always known as such a great laner, right?
Oh yeah, totally.
But
his laning prowess is lethal as 4 guys already under half HP. They are going to get that extra battle cry HP back, so they'll have some sustain over the course of the lane, but this is what Sivir Karma does. They play in your face, they play aggressive, and life is going to be so difficult for the Corki in this early game.
Yeah, it's not going to get much easier for quite a while, at the very least, until maybe half an item for the Corki is completed. So, going to have to see how it ends up shaking up. Xin Zhao already on the Wolves here. The clear's about parodied at this point, so should have about meeting at the bot lane about the same time. But once again, I say Jax is a counter pick for against Xin Zhao in specific, so should have at least a bit of a dueling advantage.
GitCat is pretty looking insane to make Fatal Blade feel a little bad here. Stepped up maybe a little bit too far. As Tate not even forced to line up the stun as Flash in for the Haymaker. Gets that face breaker in, and it's first blood to the set. What a roam from GitCat.
That's insane. I mean, I'm just pinging my team. I don't know what to say if I'm Fatal Blade there. I mean, yes, did not flash but it's so hard to react to that E-flash there from GitCat there. So just able to grab up a nice kill onto Fat L Blade.
I guess that's the running bit for this stream. But yeah, I'd say just a really great use of the roam timing there. It's not something you see from top lane very often, as you don't often get these opportunities to step out of your lane, to not immediately give your opponent a massive advantage when you're laning against them. But given how strong the early levels were versus the Ornn, getting that half HP down at level 1, it gave GitCat a super advantage early on. The wave pressured under tower and just great knowledge of the map, saw Fatal Blade up early in the lane, pushed a little bit too far forward and said, hey, I can punish this. Great map knowledge and awareness from GitCat. That's the kind of play that you love to see.
Yeah, and now Pride has to bail Fatal Blade out of this kind of rough lane state. Tate still having that TP as well is a pretty big advantage.
Has
Just
to
chilling.
be careful here, though. Does have level 5, so it does ding that extra level, so Killer Quincy is going to be forced to walk out. Knuckle down for the extra bit of movement speed. It's the one auto in and then starts running away. Might be in a bit of trouble as Pride is in the area, but Killer Quincy! You gotta respect the Orin damage. Collapse him down. Now on the bottom side, BR potentially the one in trouble is Simple Sam. Has that lethal tempo stack, but now it's the one in trouble as the big headbutt pulverize comes through and Simple Sam doesn't use the barrier. TSG is gonna start winning it out of the bot side as Worm Jones is gonna be forced to run away. Burn to the heel, has the flash still, but foreign guy not gonna flash for that last auto, not falling for the bait, but still a hefty win for the TSG bottom side.
Falling apart a little bit in the early game here for Conduit. They looked so dominant early on, and now it's, you know, kind of falling towards TSG's side. I mean, it's still a pretty close game, but those are two deaths you definitely don't want, especially not in these winning lanes I was talking about. Now, Pinay wants to punish Fatal Blade here, but does have the flash still, so shouldn't be that free of a gank here. So, and just gonna walk away.
Holding the wave outside of tower range, maybe selling that just a little bit, but you have to play for the advantage, and the ward was already there, so Pinay is going to clear that. Was spotted out, though, so they have full awareness of where this is in Zhao is. Worm Jones also on the roam. So much attention being paid to this mid lane. They do not want to let this Victor scale, and I think this is the right way to handle Victor in the early game. This is when he's at his weakest point. You don't give him a comfortable laning phase. You don't let him play the early game. You say, hey, if you're going to play aggressive, if you're going to trade, you're going to get punished for it as the Unleashed Power forces the flash out of Fatal Blade, but the photo already came through. Tate is just going to find the solo.
Yeah, solo Bolo doesn't need, I mean, needed the support in a way of just positioning, but definitely able to just grab it up all on their lonesome there. Now, that's a bit of the more advantageous lane that you'd kind of expect. They should be able to translate that later. GitCat now.
God. Killer Quincy might just be looking for a solo kill. Here's the Brittle proc, triple Brittle! Killer Quincy takes another solo top side.
Oh, here we go. Mage, tank, assassin, Ornn back to his roots here. Able to take down Set in the top side. Nice root here on the BR to trade out some damage.
Every time we see Ornn, everybody's like, oh, he's weak in the early game. I can trade against him. I can actually fight him. No, you cannot! If you aren't fighting him when he's under half HP and no mana, he is going to kill you. Ornn does so much damage in the early game with those brittle procs. If you can't dodge them out, you're just gonna die. As now, speaking of maybe just gonna die, Worm Jones potentially the one in trouble, but gets away from the trample procs. His foreign guy now the one in trouble. Simple Sam wants to walk forward, but with Pride in the area, has to take a step back. Pinay drags that dragon out and gets it to reset, so buys a little bit of extra time for a potential dragon stall, but I think with Sinful Sam and Worm Jones at their HP, they're just going to be forced to give it up.
Yeah. Tate trying to zone out Fatal Blade here. Able to take up some space to get the control ward here down. Has to be slightly careful. Set's roaming down again.
He's here again! He doesn't even have flash. He just has to walk forward.
Oh,
but the stun's going to land from Tate. Fatal Blade! Battle Blade! No! He's just going to die again! The Arcane Storm does nothing to Tate as the dragon will come through, but this poor Victor just continues to get bullied.
Get your tents out, you know? I mean, this is just classic.
This is brutal.
Yeah, I mean, if everything's going wrong on your side lanes, guess what? We're going mid. Send it.
I have to know. Is Fatal Blade just like, is he talking in all chat? Was he talking in the pregame chat? Was he like just bringing up mad smack talk to CLS? Like, what did he do to deserve this pressure and this attention?
It's jealousy, must be. That's all I have. But right now, that Victor, I mean, still having 45 CS for the abuse that he has received is actually still kind of impressive, all things considered.
It should be a lot worse.
Yeah, it really should be, but that's just testament to how strong. Oh, here we go. Set's back in mid. Has that ultimate as well. Oh no.
He has ultimate. He has flash. Fatal Blade is just dead again. Worm Jones is also in the area, flashing over the wall. Oh, look away! Look away! Viewer discretion is advised. It's some brutality in the mid lane.
The craziest thing, it doesn't matter because Ornn's just freezing too. So like, it's just like, oh yeah, sure, I will do this. Well, I guess you're just not playing the game. It's like the most unfortunate fat L blade. of the
Pride is
day.
also just gonna die. He tries to take a trade with GitCat, but Tate was still in the area, and they're just gonna take down the poor Jacks. TSG, they had moments, but this was all falling apart. The aggression from CLS is unrivaled.
Someone in chat, mid diff is crazy. You're so right.
Yeah, play safe mid. Someone run that clip back. Play safe mid as Set and Karma flash from behind him. What is he supposed to do? Surely is Killer Quincy. I think maybe a little out of position here, but does have the damage to trade to GitCat. Gets away from that face breaker. Has the call of the Forge God as well. GitCat, you gotta be careful. You gotta respect the Orn damage. He might just come through with another trade kill. The auto is canceled as Pinay saves his top laner.
GitCat took his fate there. Sinful
In
Sam.
a little bit of trouble, but Worm Jones, actually the one being aggressive, flash heal and barrier, all used by forward guy. He's going to survive it. Now takes the one in trouble. His friends in the area. One more auto to take him down. The flash knockup. BR comes up clutch in the bottom lane play. And TSG are fighting back. They're not out of it yet.
Yeah, Fatal Blade just a little bit late here on the bot side here, but still able to at least claim up the wave. I gotta say, Sinful Sam, do you have your barrier binded? It just hasn't gone off yet. Well, let's start baby steps, I think.
See if the barrier's working first and then check on the flash after.
I'm just questioning it. I feel like there's a chance you live there with barrier, but who knows? Well, let's run it back. Maybe next fight the barrier will work just fine. I will say in the meantime, TSG did grab up a Drake in all the chaos that's been occurring. Did not call that out. It's now respawning in 2 minutes, so
yeah, it'll be Hextech Dragon next, I believe, as the overlay doesn't work still for Chemtech and Hextech Dragons. Thank you, Riot Games.
Yeah. This is pretty interesting. I mean, they did get the Grubs trade, so it's pretty even on objectives. So, and also very even on the gold, despite everything that's happened this game.
Fights. They've just been fighting. They just want to throw hands, as we see in the top lane. They just want to fight. They don't care about anything else. Wave states, wave management, roaming. I mean, GitCat has roamed quite a few times, but they just want to throw hands. They just want more fighting. The only reason he's gone mid is so he can fight somebody else.
This is the foretold happy gaming we spoke about very early. Oh my god.
Oh, GitCat throws the showstopper into the unstoppable of Killer Quincy. Killer Quincy wants to keep the trade going, but Pinay's in the area. Maybe a little bit over aggressive, but he's pretty tanky on this Orn, so I don't think they want to go for the dive, especially with GitCat being already under half HP, but it is going to force the Orn away, and Set with Grubs is going to eat a turret for breakfast. Killer Quincy does have that call of the Forge God, though. Oh, GitCat has the Haymaker, though, survives the tower shot, turns it around, not soloed out this time.
No help on the top side. Unfortunate there for Killer Quincy. Just getting solo out, did their best nonetheless. Not able to grab up the turret here just because that one lone minion that got through on that proxy, so unfortunate. GitCat's gonna get a deep ward, just gonna go grab up that top lane turret.
We'll just finish turret here though. Yeah, this is Set. He's got Grubs. He's got his full stride breaker. This turret's gone.
Yeah. So nice gold injection there into the Set. I mean, 4-2-2 despite getting solo killed twice, is not the worst stat line to have.
Up in
and
CS.
Roaming. Oh, okay. Well, of course that's gonna happen. I mean, Set is winning theoretically in this matchup. Now fighting on the bot lane.
Here comes Tate. Pride is also in the area as BR has that unbreakable will on. He'll be able to survive for a long time, but not long enough as Tate just deletes foreign guy off the map. Pinay uses that crescent guard to stay alive. DP in from Killer Quincy, but just too little too late. That slow turtle teleport just not able to do enough. KitKat also came in. The top laner's a little cosmetic that fight, but a big win for CLS that's going to turn into a dragon.
Yeah, and now Fatal Blade going to rotate towards the top side just to grab up those waves, but no. I'm not sure, actually. Probably, if I have to guess. Corky's going to index towards mid. And it's going to be pretty chill from here. Drag goes the way of Conduit. They get the fruits of their labor on that bot side play. So, should be pretty chill from here.
I'm surprised to see Tate opting for Blackfire Torch first item. Granted, I haven't been keeping up on my Syndra itemization, but I thought almost always it was Ludens or some other burst item like Storm Surge or Shadow Flame, just because you're playing a one-shot somebody. You're not often playing a slower game with Syndra.
Yeah, so I mean, I've seen burn builds. I'm just surprised to see. I guess, yeah, no, it actually does make sense. I mean, you're dealing with Orange Axe, and you already have good damage with the Sivir and the Karma as far as bursts / consistent damage, so,
Sustained
whatever.
DPS, yeah.
I don't think it
Kit
matters.
Kat potentially in trouble on the bottom side there. Call of the Forge God was used, but Kit Kat has the flash, so is able to get the heck out of dodge. Now potential dive is being set up on the top side here. Tate does have the support of Worm Jones and Panay, but Pride just wants to keep going. Dashes in, but a nice crowd control from Tate is going to keep away. Panay flashes forward, but didn't land. The wind becomes lightning, so he's not able to dash in on top of Pride. BR now into the backline, gets the knock up with the 2. The turret has to fall first in BR. He's got the unbreakable will. He's on. He is so damn tanky. He's just unable to go down. Killer Quincy dies in the meantime on the bottom side. Panay has the crescent guard, but foreign guy is already in your face. You're not blocking any damage. He's just going to take you down. Well executed dive by TSG, and they remain in the game.
It was a little bit ugly for the side of Conduit, but nice play there from TSG. But on the other side of the map, more gold going the way of Conduit, so they end up with a even wider gold lead than they started with that play, since they're able to grab up that mid lane and the bot lane turrets. The Rift Herald will be the ultimate prize, though, here for TSG White, so they should have at least a better time transitioning towards that late game. And I did end up checking in the meantime of Syndra builds, and currently highest win rate is Blackfire Torch into Cosmic Drive.
Interesting, which is exactly what Tate is going to be running here with that Aether Wisp and the Fiendish Codex. So, you know, it shows what I know. See, this is why I'm the play-by-play and not the color commentary, because I just shout at the bright, pretty colors. I don't look at what the smart people think. So we're going to see a replay of what exactly happened here on the bottom side and how GitCat turned this around into a solo kill.
This is, I mean, this looks pretty bad, but there is no mana on the Ornn, and this is about to be a pretty big haymaker if I had to guess.
He saves it for as long as humanly possible. He
oh no!
Wins this?
The natural regen of just Set's passive, which is like one sentence, by the way. It's like the shortest little mini passive I've ever seen. Because I was looking for it one time. I was like, where is this regen effect anywhere in his kit? And it's like one singular sentence that's like 5 words long or something. It's like increased regen on low HP or something.
Yeah,
that's
you get
it.
Increased regen based on how much missing health you have, which really helps Set sustain fights like that. And we see sometimes it just turns around in solo kills. And now with the Black Cleaver in inventory, it's just going to be even easier, not only to keep up with Killer Quincy, but also just to shred him down. Do you have BR getting engaged on? Our producer has asked us how many. I feel like the producer could be the one to look that up, or maybe the color commentator could. I don't know. Auction passive is pretty long, so we'll have to see. But state of the game currently, CLS is up just around 2,500 gold. Worm Jones chasing down BR here. Gets him knocked out, but passed into the red buff instead of towards Panay. So for BR, saved in that time period.
They are going to be setting up for this Drake. You see the vision line already established here very well by Worm Jones. So going to have a good idea. And one thing about Conduit's comp is they really want to be the one engaging here. If the Set is the one to engage, or even just the Syndra with the Scatter of the Weak, able to get a nice engage there, should pretty much seal the deal if they're able to hit either of these squishy targets on the side of TSG. So it's going to be a lot of careful navigating as they go forward.
Yeah. Still potentially difficult for them. And looking at the Soul, we haven't had a chance to talk about the objectives very much this game, as it's just been fight after fight. Rift Herald did go over to TSG. They managed to get that one. Soul is Mountain Dragons in this game. And for both of these teams, I think denying the Dragons away from the other side, as well as getting them for yourself, is so important, as Set with extra resistances in that Mountain Soul shield can be so difficult to put down. But then you look at Ornn and Jax, and even Victor to a certain extent, and Alistar with those extra resistances with that shield, they just will not die in team fights.
That's about to get a top lane turret. Okay, we've gotten word.
Auction passive 146 words, whereas Set passive is 12.
Yeah, 12 words of the regeneration portion, which is
yeah,
kind of absurd. Set will claim that
the 2-hit passive,
yeah. Set will claim the top lane turret, may even go for the inhib turret, and there's no one in the area.
He's not pressured.
This is actually so free, and they're going to get a mid lane turret off this as well, most likely, since they're able to zone out pretty effectively, unless they go for a pretty brazen engage. Foreign guy, got to be a little careful here.
Yeah, Dragon was taken down, so Pride will manage to pick that one up, but they're losing so much on the side lanes. That inhibitor turret did go down. You can't leave a set alone with the turret. He's got those 3 grubs. He has that 2-hit passive. He just eats those for breakfast, lunch, and dinner all day, every day.
Yeah, he's got everything you need to be a top laner. It's called one auto reset. That's all. One auto reset. If you don't have an auto reset as a top laner, trust me, the pros are not picking you. That's just how it goes.
Yeah, that's why we're not seeing Gragas, I guess, anymore in the top side. I'm trying to think of other top laners who don't have auto resets, but there's just not that many of them.
Yeah, there really isn't, especially not recently. Like Riven technically doesn't have one.
Yeah, but she kind of has it. But
She
also, when was the last time you
kinda.
saw a professional Riven top lane?
That isn't just running it down in NA, you know.
Yeah.
All
Right, looking
right,
for an
nice
engage.
engage.
Worm Jones gets engaged on by BR. Nice 2-man stun from Tate that was just going to keep them off, and they can't even engage onto Worm Jones. They're flashing forward to look for the support. Worm Jones has the heal, has the flash, and is just going to get out just fine. So much burn there to try and engage onto the support, and they don't even get her down. Now CLS have a chance to re-engage and try and find the fight as the Dragon Pit possession is in favor of TSG, but what are they fighting for? The Dragon's not up for 3 more minutes, and now Gitcat just flashes in for the Haymaker. Picks them all up, knocks them down. BR is forced to flash away. Foreign guy also on the run. Killer Quincy keeping Pinay off the rest of his team. And yeah, I agree, GG. What on earth were they fighting for?
We're fighting for the ghosts. There's nothing in the area there, and just 5v5 mid lane. Why not ARAM it out?
I guess.
I mean, kind of, but that's not how you position for Otacon, I'm sure. I guess they're scared of the mid lane, and since it looks like Conduit was more than happy to just push down mid, they had to kind of fully contest, but I feel like you just kind of give up your position in the river there and just go around towards the pit instead if you really wanted to be contesting this Otacon.
Yeah.
But instead, they're going to lose a member, and they're going to lose the Otacon as well, and I hope no one else dies.
They might lose another member as Killer Quincy is taking under half HP, under a third HP now as Otacon was taken by CLS. They're all just going to walk away. They know they don't have the resources. This is smart play by CLS. They don't have to force a fight.
Yeah, it's looking good. I mean, the only time that in this series so far that Conduit's really been caught off guard is when they're getting engaged on by a position they didn't already establish as something they want to control. It's like somebody getting caught out in a rogue position, and now BR, I mean, just in the middle of nowhere as this Alistar.
Yeah, has the phase rush, so maybe can get it off, but it's just going to die before he even can. Tate eats him up, and it's more gold over to the Syndra. I'll self-call out at the top of the day. I said everybody was predicting for TSG. I believed in the people. I saw some people even saying TSG 2-0. It was going to be an easy win for them. I'm not sure that TSG is even going to take a game in this series. It has just been CLS for what 95, 98% of this entire like best of 3.
Yeah, I mean, and I feel like it was self-inflicted wounds for Conduit, and most of the times that they lost these advantages, so it's really looked very good for them.
Good engage by TSG as Sinful Sam is going to be in trouble here. The Arcane Storm, it doesn't do enough. The Death Laser does not finish him off. No, the burn for the victory is just that Faded Ashes. It's not going to do enough damage at this point in the game. So Sinful Sam will walk away. For TSG, it looks like
nothing's going right
at this point. How do you turn this game back around? What is your
got it.
on?
Screw the team. I'm splitting. This is how it's gonna go. Nope. No. I picked Jax for a reason. I picked Jax for a reason. I'm on the side lane. That's just how it goes. So, I mean, maybe some rage splitting is what they need, but you know, they really have to be careful about how they navigate these next couple fights, because with Baron up in 2 minutes, if they lose a fight right before Baron, that could be a complete disaster, since they don't really have that great of wave clear. It's pretty much just the Victor, and that's not even that great come late game, especially when minions are baroned up. So I'd be a little bit concerned.
Yeah, I mean, you say come late game, but he just now finished his Roa is now stacked, but he's not even on his second item yet. Tyr is still in inventory waiting to be finished into a Seraph. Corki's still waiting to finish that Banamune as well. The resources just are not there for TSG right now. They've just been put so far behind, and I looked at their comp and I said, hey, scaling wins games. This is how you play it. But if you're going to be taking fist fights with your opponent and not, I want to say not respecting the robes, but not just playing underneath your second tier turret in your Fatal Blade, as he's going to get engaged on here. A nice stun from that gravity well. He's going to pull Pride back into the backline, get a nice haymaker off. And this might be the fight that TSG were looking for, as Killer Quincy and BR are now into the back line. BR has that unbreakable will, so he's going to be very difficult to put down. Killer Quincy still in the front line, still applying damage, but who can finish them off? Who can do the damage? Nobody's able to take down these members of CLS.
Yeah, now they're able to transition over towards this Drake. They have bush control here, just going to establish that. And, you know, this is just not a threatening mid-take here for the side of TSG. Like, this is the tier 1 when they've already cracked almost most of tier 2. I just don't know if it's really going to matter too much. I mean, yes, they do get some gold off the table here, but they could get engaged on, and this could end the game.
Yeah, they're looking for it. Killer Quincy, not going to get stunned up, but Pride is the unleashed power. Tate just deletes Pride off the map, and now into the backline goes Git Cat, has that huge haymaker, takes a chunk out of Fat Out Blade and Foreign Guy, who are now on the run. Pinay wants to chase them down. They've got the blast gun to get over the wall, but Pinay does not care. Flashes over the wall, 1v3. He's got Simple Save in the area as well, but he doesn't even need the help. Pinay just walking forward, auto-attacking. Does not give a damn, and is just going to give a kill over to Sinful Sam. And CLS continue to just rock advantages over and over.
Oh my god, the Victor just TP'd towards the set. I think Fatal Blade's also dead.
Away.
Oh
yeah,
my
he has
god.
to flash. He manages to survive, but you're
That
not
is
going to be
just
able to stay and
unfortunate.
clear the wave. This bot lane inhibitor is just gone.
That is so unfortunate. Fatal Blade just wanted a TP to base to get out, and hey, there's just a set there, which is just hilarious to me. Now Pride wants to get the trade kill, but I don't even know if you win this. Level 15 set, 3 items completed. Gonna force the flash.
Traded.
Oh,
Still
has the
looking
Krugs.
for a little bit more. He's got the counter strike, but he's got Krugs to be able to set up a stun. And there's that haymaker for huge true damage. Git Cat just styles on him, and with no jungler to pressure, that's just free Baron to CLS.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's maybe the final nail in the coffin. That just feels bad. I don't even care what actually happens from now on. That just feels so bad.
Yeah, that's the set dream right there, though. You get the huge haymaker, you take half of someone's HP, and then just knuckle down, bam, bam, they're dead.
Yeah, the Conqueror stacks fully, and yeah, you just smack a little bit, and they're all dead. Now they have a very good position, 10k gold up again. I mean, we've seen this before last game, but it still didn't matter.
It's reminiscent of game number 1, where TSG had decent scaling options. They had potentials to come back in the game, but their engage options, I think, are a lot worse this time around, which feels weird when you're looking at a team with Ornn and with Alistar. But who do you engage on into the CLS side? Are you going to try and get on top of Git Cat, who's just going to use Ornn as his own engage? Are you going to engage onto the Zinzao, who has the Crescent Guard? Because Tate, Sinful Sam, and Worm Jones are not going to be in range for you to get on top of.
Tate's probably your best bet, but still not gonna be easy. Okay, here we go.
They're trying to bully the set, but he's got the haymaker! Poor guy! That was full HP! He's just gone! Killer Quincy almost dies from it as well. The showstopper to pull him away from the squad. He'll get 1,000 gold to shut down, but at what cost? At what cost, TSG? The turret in the mid lane is going to go down. Killer Quincy's getting chased down. I don't think Worm Jones has the damage, but Tate's in the area. Hits the scat of the week and will go unstoppable. CLS. Oh my god! Foreign Guy just got 100-0 deleted.
You know, at least it wasn't through barrier too. You know, it was only your entire HP bar. Unlucky.
Yeah, it was just your whole HP bar and true damage. You just shouldn't get hit next time. Just dodge the one shot.
Yep, just dodge it. Don't worry. Okay, nice disengage there. Foreign Guy now back up. With a big bruise on his forehead, walking forward.
That's no bruise. That's a dent.
I'm trying to be nice. Like he's kind of insecure about it.
No, that forehead is concave now. It has been caved in with just the indent of Set's knuckles in his face.
Yeah, they're at least not gonna get triple inhibited here, so they stave off the storm. If for maybe wave 2, you know, there's gonna be another wave. You're just kind of waiting for it. If anything, it's kind of smart that Conduit didn't give this extra gold over with the inhib going down.
It's more time for them to have fun with their lead, I guess. But
happy gaming.
It is also you're not giving them extra gold from the super minions, and you're able to control the wave states a little bit more. It does make sense. It is a legitimate reason for them to not take those inhibs, but also at this point, I'm not sure it matters all that much. I think they can just kind of end the game when they want to.
Yeah, I mean, that was 4 people on top of Git Cat that they just
All the
couldn't
Force
find it.
God, they found Worm Jones, gets the knock up onto 2, but Panay is one of them, and that's not the target you want to engage on as BR just drops in front of the front line, doesn't have that ulti up yet. Crescent Guard on top of Foreign Guy. The Corki's just not able to apply the damage. They're out of the back line, takes the target, but they just don't have the damage. Fatal Blade doesn't do enough. Simple Sam picks up a double, and now it's just Killer Quincy, all on his lonesome, stuck outside his base, running away from it. Panay and Worm Jones are going to chase him down, just mercy kill him at this point. The knockups, the autos, everything comes through. Wind becomes lightning to finish it off. A clean ace for CLS and a clean 2-0 in the series in quick fashion, under 30 minutes in both games. CLS dominant in week number 3.
It looked pretty easy despite some hiccups, but they were mostly self-inflicted. The sets, the set's death on the top side, Sinful Sam not clicking barrier, but hey, doesn't matter if you get the dove at the end of the day. And yeah, Conduit Landslide. They're going to make it a landslide in that one, for sure.
Yeah. Domination, I think, was the name of the game there. We say it all the time on the caster desk of, hey, scaling wins games. You play a slower game, you give yourself time to play in the late game, your opponent makes a mistake and you can capitalize it. But in a game like this, just Conduit didn't give them a chance to get to late game. I will say they didn't really give themselves that much of a chance to get there, but also just play safe mid, I guess.
No, I mean, that was just
double flash on.
As much as we're joking, oh, fat, oh, blah, 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 that is like barely. I mean, yeah, okay, the first one your fault, okay? Second one, kind of your fault. Third one, it's like, okay, well, now what are we doing here? Like, this is not my fault anymore.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 5 times. I don't even know at that point, but at a certain point, it was out of Fatal Blade's hands. Of what the team was going to do at that point, because when you are receiving that much pressure, your team needs to be doing something else with the advantage. And we saw Killer Quincy was freezing on the top side, denying a lot of CS from set, but KitKat still ended up with a CS lead up there on the top side. Not much was happening on the bottom lane because Corki Alistar just can't face up engage versus the Sivir Karma. It felt like in all of these games, the difference really was in what the teams were able to do with the drafts that they gave themselves. Like, CLS was able to play this aggressive because they picked winning side lanes. They picked an aggressive jungler. They said, hey, we're going to punch you in the face. What are you going to do about it? And TSG said, well, we're going to eat it. We're going to take it. We're going to fall back. We're going to retreat, put our hands up and defend. But you can only defend for so long. You have to fight back at some point. And by the time they were ready to, the advantage was just so far out of their hands.
Yeah, the triple winning lanes in both games, I mean, you've heard of the saying, win lane, win game. And sometimes it really does come down to that. Just the advantages you can generate, especially for your jungler. I mean, Pinay had maybe the freest series that he'll probably ever have, just having 3 winning lanes all in both games. So, if anything, like, that's just testament to how that kind of strategy works out. But it really goes the other way of, drafting for the other side here. You got to change something up. Somebody's got to be the strong side in one of these lanes that the jungler can kind of play around towards that early game.
Yeah, and it felt like it might have been Killer Quincy after game number 1. I saw the Jax get drafted. I was like, great. They're going to play towards Jax in the strong lane. They banned out some of the counters. They're going to play up towards the Jax. But then they picked the Ornn and they moved the Jax into jungle. And while Pride didn't have a bad game on the Jax, it just didn't feel like he ever really had the same impact that Panay was able to. And again, part of that is you didn't draft a ton of winning lanes. You're playing a pseudo-aggressive jungler, but still someone who's happy to farm up and play that kind of game. But you have the scaling lanes in Victor Ornn. You have a losing bottom lane versus double range. Like, there's just not a lot that Pride is able to do with a champion like Jackson in a situation like that. It felt like TSG definitely didn't play perfectly, but they also didn't give themselves the tools to actually win the game at any point. It felt like CLS, again, they were just saying, hey, we're going to punch you in the face, and TSG just didn't have a response for it.
Yeah, I mean, I was 100% convinced it was Jack's jungle the entire time, but I don't know if Ornn's the play,
Yeah.
Like, it's a safe pick, and it did get solo kills, actually. But if you're going to pick Victor and Ornn, and you already had a Corki Alistar on the...
You need something winning on the map. You need something to play an advantage towards.
Like Syndra, I guess you just pick a Kali or something and just send it, just like, oh, I could beat a Syndra with a Kali. That is how that kind of goes sometimes. So, some sort of gusto there on the map.
Yeah, it did feel like TSG was not a bad team in this game. It felt like they had opportunities on the plays that we saw that they were able to take advantage of, like that Bard engage in game number 1. They were able to capitalize and had a really good micro in the fights. It just felt like the drafts didn't give themselves the opportunity to get to those points at any point in the game. And CLS, we're just happy to continue to pressure. And I think with that, again, congratulations to CLS for your 2-0 in week 3, continuing to march forward here. We are going to call it there for the night. We want to thank you all so much for joining us. Ivan Wittenbrody, that's Golden Gad GG, our producer and observer, Golden and Loki, making sure everything runs as smoothly as possible on the back end. Again, we appreciate you all for being here, and we will see you all next week for more Titan Esports Vanquisher League action. We'll see you then.